This is Point Pelee National Park. It's the most southern point of Canada's mainland, and it's one of the smallest national parks in the country. The park offers beautiful beaches, forest trails, endless marshes, and some very unique natural landscapes, not found anywhere else in the country. Point Pelee National Park is located on a peninsula that extends deep into Lake Erie. The park also includes Middle Island, which is the southernmost point in Canada, but it's off limits to people. I recently bought myself a Parks Canada Discovery Pass, which gives you access to about 80 Parks Canada locations, including national parks, national historic locations, and national marine conservation areas. But Parks Canada is bringing back the Canada Strong Pass again this year, which means that you get free admission to Parks Canada sites from June 19th to September 7th, which is about 12 weeks. If you buy an annual pass, like I did, they simply extend the expiration date on your pass by 12 weeks. Once you enter through the main gates, you can travel almost the entire length of the park along Point Pelee Drive, which is a beautiful road under the forest canopy. From April through October, you can drive until you reach the visitor center. Here you'll find park info, bathrooms, and some exhibits about the plants and animals of the park. From here you can walk or take the shuttle to the southern point, which is about 2.5 kilometers away. I decided to walk, and if you do walk, you have a few options, like the road, which is less scenic, the beach, which is challenging on the loose sand, or the West Beach footpath. Along this path, you'll come across cactus, which is native to Point Pelee and Pelee Island and found nowhere else in Ontario. It grows here thanks to the dry and sandy habitat, and that habitat is known as the Lake Erie sandspit savannas. 12 to 24,000 years ago, as the glaciers retreated, the meltwater filled the lowlands and valleys, creating the Great Lakes. The retreating glaciers also left behind boulders, clay, gravel, and sand. As the debris from the glaciers eroded, it created finer sand, which was carried by wind and waves and deposited here at Point Pelee. That process continued for thousands of years and built up the peninsula. As vegetation grew, a rich soil developed, creating a lush, deciduous forest, known commonly as a Carolinian forest. It still drifts and changes today, but the vegetation and root system helps keep it stable and in place. At the 2-kilometer mark is where you'll find the Tip Observation Tower. It's 24 meters tall and 144 steps to the top. It has great views way above the treetops. You can see the mainland's most southern point, which doesn't seem that far away. It is deceivingly far, however, as the very tip is about another kilometer away, and about half that distance is on loose sand, which makes it feel farther. But the shifting sand and water levels of the Great Lakes can impact how far the point actually is. You can practically see the point's formation happening in real time, as the waves from either side of the peninsula crash into each other, slowly but surely creating new shoreline. It is strictly prohibited to swim here. It may look calm, however, the water currents here are extremely strong and will pull swimmers out into the middle of Lake Erie. 6 people have been swept away from this point in the last 44 years. This area was the summertime home of indigenous tribes for hundreds of years, or maybe even thousands before explorers arrived. The first Europeans to explore the area were the French in the 1600s. They named the peninsula Point Pelee, meaning bald point. In the 1700s, the British designated the southern part of the peninsula a naval reserve. This was to preserve the tall and straight pine and oak trees for shipbuilding should they need it. The boundaries of that naval reserve became the national park boundaries. One of the bummers of this beautiful spot is that you have to walk all the way back. But thankfully, you can catch the shuttle near the observation tower, which will take you back to the visitor center. From here, I hopped in my car and started heading north. Along the way, there are several pull-offs and parking lots where you can head out to explore the forests, beaches, and marshes. One of the first stops just north of the visitor center is Camp Henry, where you can rent modern-looking cabins. A worthwhile stop is the DeLaurier Homestead. When Europeans first started to settle the area, they pushed the indigenous tribes off the land. Those tribes would spend the next 200 years without land to call their own. In 2010, the federal government and the Caldwell First Nations reached a settlement of $105 million, and the opportunity for the Caldwell Nation to choose land in the area. The home that stands here today is from those early European settlement days, and it's the oldest remaining structure on Point Pelee. The home was built by Oliver DeLaurier in 1885. It's hard to believe it today, but this site used to be a community of about 300 buildings, including homes, barns, a school, shops, and hotels. DeLaurier's home was also used as a neighborhood tavern and dance hall. In 1882, a few years before DeLaurier built his homestead, naturalist W.E. Saunders visited Point Pelee to hunt ducks. During his visit, he was stunned by how many migratory birds he saw, and he convinced a prominent conservationist named Jack Miner to visit as well. Together, and along with locals from Leamington, they lobbied the federal government to turn the Naval Reserve into a national park, and in 1918, Point Pelee National Park was officially created. Thanks to the efforts of Saunders, Miner, and Leamington locals, Point Pelee National Park is still the temporary home of over 300 migratory birds. Thousands of monarch butterflies stop here each spring and fall too, as they migrate between Ontario and Mexico. One of the last stops near the park entrance is the Marsh Boardwalk. The boardwalk only covers a tiny portion of the marshland, which makes up 2/3 of the national park. The marshlands cover an area equivalent to 2,000 football fields. It's home to a wide variety of mammals, birds, fish, snakes, frogs, and plants. The sheer size of the marsh is pretty incredible, and the lookout tower here is an amazing way to see some of it. The park offers canoe rentals here, but I was visiting a couple weeks too early. As the sun was getting lower in the sky, it felt like the park was really coming to life, with hundreds of birds chirping and the occasional croak from the marsh. Plus, this park is a dark sky preserve, so it would be amazing to stand on a beach after dark and just stare up at the night sky. With a lot of the day use guests gone, the main road was quiet and made for some nice pictures. This is a pretty small and simple park to explore. But like any national park in Canada, it's incredibly beautiful, and it's a very unique experience here in Ontario. I'm Mark, and I make videos about interesting places and experiences here in Canada. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. See ya.